Hello, everyone. Back again with the day two of this week of September of the Neo Reality Collective initiative stuff. So, tons of news broke out on the 14th of this day, and I found as much as I could, so there's plenty to go around. So, there has been new updates regarding Kingdom Hearts, DC Comics, more stuff about them, new stuff going on in the world of tech, and YouTube especially, and TikTok's currently going through something. But let's get right into it. So, Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory will be. So here's the thing. I have not kept track of Melody of Memory, but I did see some footage. To some extent, I haven't kept track of it, but it's a rhythm game that appears to tell the story of the entire Kingdom Hearts series, encompassing 18 years across multitude of consoles and platforms and devices, though through its much heralded musical score. And I was thinking like, oh god, that game must be self-destructive then, because there is no way you could tell. But from the footage I did see, it did seem to be playing as certain past characters of that era, specifically Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Though it's been confirmed that it appears that they're not the main characters of the story, nor will it be Roxas, Terra, Ventus, and Aqua. Though I would love to see Roxas and Ventus interact more because, they're kind of duplicates. All of whom starred in side games before. Links will be in the description, by the way. Instead, Melody of Memory seems as though it will focus on Kairi, Sora's longtime friend and clear love interest, turned Keyblade Warrior. While trailers and whatnot and promotional materials have made it evident that Kairi is the focal point of this musical adventure, we haven't received many details regarding how it's going to come about or what her actual role is. However, series director Tetsuri Norma, who also did Final Fantasy VII Remake, who's at the helm of the franchise since it first started, talked a bit about Kairi's role and how she will be driving the story along. Saying in the interview that Kairi will serve as a storyteller for the game, narrating the events of the various Kingdom Hearts inspired worlds that the player will visit. What's interesting is that apparently Kairi was not Norma, whatever, Tetsuri Norma's first choice to serve as the storyteller. Originally, he was going to have Chethuri from Kingdom Hearts Union X and Kingdom Hearts 3 tell the story. However, he changed his mind when he realized Kylie would fit better that role because, well, after what, if I had to guess, um, so the thing is that various changes had to be made in order to compensate for this change. As a result, the story for Melody of Memory had to be revised, including the various Kyrie-focused cutscenes we got brief peeks at the trailers in. He also noted that the game is not going to have a secret unlockable movie like the other titles. Typically, secret movies are a way of giving a vague peek of what is to come. So what we see in Melody of Memories is what we're going to get, with no secrets lurking in the corner. If this is anything like every other Kingdom Hearts game, it's likely that Melody of Memory will be vital to the story heading into Kingdom Hearts 4 whenever that's coming. So, when I heard this, I was like, okay, so if I had to guess, the backlash that fans gave him regarding Kairi, because a lot of people did hate how Kairi was written in that game, because she went from being this damsel in distress to wanting to be more active to virtually being useless and then getting fridged by the main villain to further development of another character who is a love interest, because clearly it is. And it was just, oh god, it was just nightmarish when I saw the backlash. Like, I just wanted them to just admit it already. But yeah, it's yeah, you got a lot of backlash for that, and I I really don't know. Like, it's gonna take some time. Like if they like address the in universe and try to and go through this more like guilt phase and going through this development change, because Sora is pretty much dead in to all of them technically because of what happened. But but I feel like they could tell a story of Kyrie's guilt for not contributing as much, and they could probably fix this. But again, it's probably going to be a little bit harder because, well, you know, all the butchered stuff they did in Kingdom Hearts 3 with her, like they had her go through a dimensional world where time is pretty much a non-existent factor, and yet it didn't do jack shit. So, yeah, I want Kyrie to be taken more seriously with the developers. I don't know why they didn't do it like they did. Like have her go, like she could start out as the damsel in distress, have her play more active role, but still need some help since she's still new to this whole thing, and then ascend to her awesomeness. But yeah, they didn't do that for some reason. So speaking of, Tatsuri Norma also had said that confirms no more Kingdom Hearts games planned for the Nintendo Switch. Nintendo enthusiasts got a chance to speak with the production staff behind the Melody of Memory game. In addition to discussing the upcoming game, Nintendo enthusiasts inquired about the possibility of ports of previous titles in the new Kingdom Hearts series coming to the Nintendo Switch. This is the quote. Series director Tatsuri Norma confirmed there are no currently specific plans for more Kingdom Hearts games on Switch. Square Enix did consider ports of existing games in the past, but found that it was technologically difficult. However, Norman added that he believes the Nintendo Switch is a very appealing piece of hardware, and he had always wanted to do something with that console. Additionally, while he cannot speak for games at Square Enix that he has an associate with, Norma did express that it is possible another game of his could come to the Switch, just not Kingdom Hearts. Yeah, so while... Yeah, I'm curious to know where they go with this. Nintendo's been pretty much been given the shaft after housing pretty much some major installments like Kingdom Hearts 3D, Dream Drop Distance, and I still to this day don't know why they did that on the handheld. Like a major focal point for the franchise was on the Nintendo 3DS, and like. Oh god, that was crazy when I first heard that. I almost did contemplate getting a 3DS just for that, but I ultimately didn't go with that route. So, yeah, and and some people didn't like that. I mean, though I think it could be because technological reasons. I'm not a hardware guy, so I'm not really sure I'm the best guy to ask this question. So let's move on. So Microsoft. So on GameSpot, it talks about why Xbox Series X is priced so aggressively. A top executive at Xbox explains why Microsoft priced the new consoles so low. Microsoft recently announced the prices for the Xbox Series S, 300, Xbox Series X, 500, and they came in lower than some might have imagined, especially the lowest spec S model. The consoles were initially intentionally priced low, and Microsoft is launching the phone-style subscription plan to make it easier to get people into the Xbox ecosystem and then start spending money on games, according to Xbox CFO Tim Stewart. Stewart had told Barron's that the aggressive pricing for the Series X, S, and X consoles will help Microsoft kickstart the new generation. He said this in a quote, "Our goal was to increase that top of funnel as fast as possible, get people into the ecosystem, and get people into the next gen experience. And finally, kind of kickstart this generation as fast as we can. If you can get that install base as big as you can up front, you have the customers enjoying the next gen experience we have to offer. And from a business side, we start to monetize and build a customer lifetime value much faster than a slow build over time." So, and Microsoft did, and it was statistically stated that Microsoft could lose as much as $100 on every Xbox Series X sold, but the company will make up those losses with game sales and subscription revenue, like with Xbox Game Pass. Stewart spoke about this in the interviews with Barron's. "I like to talk about how engagement equals currency. If customers are playing, they're buying more things from our partners, they're buying more things from us, and their enjoyment goes up. For comparison, Xbox One launched at $500, which was a full $100 more than the PS4. This price gap, along with various other stumbles by Microsoft, that's putting it mildly, led to a difficult position for the company relative to the competition. This generation, Microsoft is starting off from a stronger position with a lower price when factoring in inflation, and a smartphone-style Xbox All Access program where you can get an Xbox Series S for $25 a month and Xbox Series X for $35 a month. Kotaku did some calculations and reported that the Series X, $500, is less expensive than the launch prices for the Xbox 360, $529, and the Xbox One, $555, when adjusting for inflation. While Microsoft has announced the price and release dates for its next-gen console, Sony has yet to divulge the launch details for their PS5 and digital PS5. We also don't know if Sony will follow Microsoft's plan and offer a subsidized program as well as for consoles. Sony is holding a PS5 showcase on September 16th, so I will cover that. So it might not be long until we learn more about the console and its price and release dates. So Microsoft is essentially saying, okay, we will lower the prices of hardware, but we'll make our money back with software sales. That's essentially what they're saying. Uh, yeah, I'm kind of amazed like this, but this is Microsoft. Like, remember when Microsoft was the evil corporation and we were all out to get them because they hated us and just wanted money, 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 money. Now is all of a sudden Microsoft's willing to take a big gamble because people don't want because with the online world being more and more interconnected, I get why they probably think that. I think they're thinking a more long term plan than the traditional. Okay, we just need the money. Like certain companies like to short term plans for a long term solution, short term solutions to a long term problem thing. So I'm glad Microsoft's trying to have more confidence in themselves with this, and they're being more gamer friendly. We'll see how this all goes. I'm hoping things work out. Disney's Plus Falcon and the Winter Soldier enlists Captain America movie villain, according to a report. Former UFC fighter George St. Pierre is suiting back up as his MCU character Batroc for the Falcon and Winter Soldier based on new photos from the show set. A familiar face from Captain America's past is making its way to the Disney Plus series, if new photos from the show set are to be believed. According to new images from Jet Jared, filming has resumed on the series after being halted due to the COVID virus earlier this year. What's more, one of the stars of Captain America Winter Soldier has been seen on set in costume. In the photos, you can see the actor, former UFC fighter George St. Pierre in costume as George Batroc, the mercenary captain team did battle at the beginning of the Winter Soldier, so that's why I don't remember him. The character known as Batroc the Leaper in the comics is a master savant, French kickboxing, and has yet to appear anywhere else in the MCU. It looks like that will be changing soon. Also, as seen on set, Emily Van Camp, who appeared in both Winter Soldier and Civil War as Sharon Carter, Agent 13, you might remember her as the not only Steve Rogers love interest, but also the niece of his other love interest. It's complicated. In fact, now that when people talk about that, they're like, wait, so if Steve Rogers went back in time and married Peggy Carter and all that, so does that mean Sharon is also Steve Rogers' descendant? Which makes certain things uncomfortable when they like, holy crap, we just committed incest. I'm curious to know what they're going to do with that. If they're ever going to address who the if Steve Rogers of the MC of Endgame is in the past, and then he shows up. Does that mean that what happened is Steve Rogers? And did she know? She had to have guessed something. Like she never met her a family member who just happens to look like an older Steve Rogers. Let's hope they answer that in the show. Kingdom Hearts Melody and Memories are available for pre-order now. All that stuff. Also, some pre-order bonuses. $60. The only has one edition. It's the $60 both physical and digital format. As of now, the physical editions are available for pre-order on PS4 and Switch. You can secure a digital pre-order at the PlayStation Store, Xbox Store, and Nintendo Switch eShop. Yeah, they're now making another extended multi-set thing, so that's a little surprising. You would think Square Enix would be interested in that. Also, the artwork they have for Kairi, having these pictures of her perspective of certain characters, though certain characters can't have been shown because she didn't know Terra, Aqua, and Ventus, except Aqua for that moment in Birth by Sleep, but the other two, no. But like the last image we see is of her and Sora before Sora fades away from her perspective, so it's going to be interesting where that goes. And okay, the Xion scene where we see Xion, Roxas, and Axel, if I had to guess, and this is just a big guess, it's probably from another perspective I don't know about, but like, yeah, certain things make sense, certain doesn't, so we'll see how that goes out in the game. Stargirl Season 2 update. A couple major villains are coming back. During DC Fandom, we learned more about the Season 2 of the CW series, including Grundy's on-set fill-in. So, yeah, I won't talk about the spoilers and whatnot, but, yeah, let's see. How we already know what's coming down to this. yeah, so Grundy's set to come back despite what happened at the end of the show, but also Eclipso's coming in and whatnot, and so and yeah, and we'll probably also see a certain metaphysical magical being that is the manifestation of God's holy vengeance. Yeah, yeah. So it's gonna be pretty insane, and yeah. Also talked about DC fandom was Harley Quinn season 3 talk. The how the cast and producers discussed the possibility of a season 3. People still want to know where it goes next. So when they were asked, "Is the series coming back?" No idea, and yeah, and the producer was saying, executive producer Justin Harpland saying this: "We want to focus on Harley and Ivy's relationship during the panel." Well, and I'm less personally interested in if Joker gets a new girlfriend than I am. Let's explore this relationship we spent 2 seasons building. Of course, the show would have to get picked up for a third season for that to happen. Supervising producer Jennifer Colley could only respond with, "I hope so." So time will tell whether the anime series will come back for season 3. However, just because the focus may be on Ivy and Harley Quinn, that doesn't mean it's not going to be ultra violent, over the top, and downright hilarious, with enough cussing to make your mama blush. Game spot, really. And it was also revealed that Doom Patrol was coming back for a third year. However, it won't be on DC Universe. That's going to be on the exclusive HBO Max. So, speaking of those two things, so I'm hoping Harley Quinn gets renewed. It's very popular. It got Harley Quinn a big push. And now people, and that also was probably pissing off Dan DiDio. It's like, wait, you're going to have Ivy and Harley be a couple, but I just broke them up in the comics, and now people are going to demand it more so than ever. And we already were planning to straight wash her with Booster Gold. I don't know. Yeah, so that whole plan is now out the door, and Dan's gone, so they could change that idea. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting where they go with this. I want to see a season 3. It's so fun, it's so energetic, and so much has some interesting concepts in there that it'd be crazy not to do it. It'd be crazy not to do season 3. If they don't do season 3, it's a missed opportunity, especially HBO Max needing all the content they need, especially now more than ever in the war for power and everything. Let's see. So I talked about Doom Patrol season 3 renewal, but it's not coming on DC Universe. Tragically, that means that DC Universe is out the door soon, and it should just probably be converted into a comics archival movie format, and the bit newer content could go to HBO Max, or they could just combine them. I don't know, but yeah, Doom Patrol season 3, it's gonna happen. I haven't watched season 2 yet, but yeah. So let's see how that works out. I don't know what's gonna happen to DC Universe after this, so we'll see where it goes on from there. So. YouTube has announced a launching of the TikTok rival service. A new YouTube project has been announced. It's coming out, and it's set to compete with TikTok because that's what the world needed more of. YouTube is getting into a short form, 15-second multi-clip video business with a new feature according to an announcement from the platform. The feature, Shorts, as it's called, YouTube Shorts, will be launching as an early beta in India over the next few days, with more countries and features rolling out in the coming months. User-generated shorts videos were born on YouTube, starting with our first upload, a short 18-second video called Me at the Zoo, said Chris Jaffe, YouTube's Vice President of Production Management, in the announcement. YouTube Shorts is a new short-form video experience right on YouTube for creators and artists who want to shoot short, catchy videos using nothing but their mobile phones. This confirms report rumors earlier this year from the information that YouTube has been cooking up its answer to TikTok, the hugely popular video sharing social app. It also means that YouTube will be joining Facebook's Instagram, who last month launched Reels with video creation tools similar to TikTok. Reels so far has received a lukewarm reception. Shorts will appear on the mobile app's homepage in a dedicated row, and the feature will be featured prominently elsewhere in the app. Based on the announcement's description, the new create icon will be difficult to miss. Similarly, YouTube is hoping shorts that users create will be essential viewing, with the announcement explicitly mentioning the platform's 2 billion monthly users, noting we want to enable the next generation of mobile creators to grow a community on YouTube with shorts. Translation, fuck all the long form content. It's short term content. It's short form content again, even though you've been pressuring YouTube content creators to make longer form content. That's what I've pretty much been doing, trying to get some audience back up, because my short form content was a thing for a while, and then it fell apart, and now I've been struggling to get more viewership despite my subscribers. But yeah, my subscribers are pretty much deadly inactive. I only have like a few ever responding to my video uploads, and that only depends if I make the thoughts video. So like, I post video game footage and that happens from time to time, but mostly it's been either the wrestling video games I produce, or it's all the videos I produce live actioned. So we'll see where this goes. But I was like, why do we have to do another one? Why is YouTube in this? I don't want more TikToks in the world. Speaking of TikTok, TikTok rejects Microsoft's takeover bid, and now Oracle might not buy it outright. Yeah, Microsoft will not acquire TikTok's U.S. operations. The Xbox company announced on Sunday evening that the TikTok owner ByteDance has rejected Microsoft's offer. Microsoft said it believes that its proposal was a good one, but the two companies ultimately could not come to terms. The Wall Street Journal reported that Oracle has emerged victorious in the discussions, though it's not an outright sale. Instead, Oracle will become a TikTok's trusted tech partner in the U.S. In a brief statement released on Monday, Oracle said, Oracle confirmed Secretary Mnuchin's statement that in part of the proposal submitted by ByteDance to the Treasury Department over the weekend, in which Oracle will serve as the trusted technology provider. Oracle has a 40-year track record of providing service, secure, highly performant technology solutions. It is unclear what the nature of the relationship with Oracle and TikTok would be in this proposed deal. Microsoft's statement follows below. ByteDance let us know today that we will not be selling TikTok's U.S. operations to Microsoft. We are confident our proposal would have been good for TikTok users while protecting national security interests. To do this, we would have to have made significant changes to ensure the service met the highest standards for security, privacy, online safety, and combating disinformation, and we make these principles clear in our August statement. We look forward to seeing how the service evolves in these important areas. In other news regarding a potential TikTok sale by TikTok, it was reported by the South China Morning Post that ByteDance will not sell or transfer its For You algorithm, which is the driving force behind the app. The car can be sold, but not the engine, a source said. U.S. President Donald Trump has said he may ban TikTok in the U.S. unless his U.S. operations are sold by September 15th. So, yeah, ByteDance has filed a lawsuit. I have no idea how that's going to go. And Microsoft shut down streaming service site Mixer last month. It continues to focus on enterprise-related businesses. It was never clear how TikTok acquisition might factor into the Xbox business as the Series X release approaches, but that's all out the window now. Yeah, I don't operate on TikTok, never have, and probably never will. I'm just not interested in that. So, yeah, and Oracle's not buying it outright. They're being more like a proxy, I think. It's like trying to be a shield, and Donald Trump's trying to ban it, and I was like, there's probably some other stuff going on, but like, you fuck that. We gotta focus on TikTok and its potential spyware stuff, but while that is important, I was like, we have a virus, people are dying, the world's in chaos, but you're worried about TikTok. Gotcha. That's perfect priority straits. Also, coming out this month, Halo 3 ODST will finally release in Halo 3 ODST will be releasing on PC this month. That's part of the Master Chief Collection, finally arriving on PC September 22nd as part of the collection. Both the campaign and Firefight, the Wave-based survival mode, are heading to PC for the very first time following a recent beta period. And also, it was updated. Microsoft just announced the next wave of games coming to the Xbox Game Pass on console, Android, and PC, including ODST. Their description says Firefight is joining Master Chief Collection on consoles for the first time with online matchmaking, dedicated servers, and new custom game modes. This would imply Firefight is also coming to the Xbox One to September 22nd, but it's not an explicit confirmation. ODST originally launched in 2009, and did okay reception. ODST, I played ODST a lot with my buddies. We were doing a huge stakes in in the world of of trying to do that VidMaster challenge, we were only a couple waves away until the internet of someone went out, and we were pissed for days. Like, I didn't blame him, but yeah, two of my buddies were pissed at that because we were just that close to finishing it. That was the last one. We never tried again because it was just so taxing when we did that over the summer. Oh man, that was insane. Thank God I wasn't on YouTube. I didn't do YouTube at the time. Could you imagine if I did and we did that? We tried to do it and it ended like that. Oh God, oh God. It would have been insane. All that filming, and I wouldn't know what to do with it. Do I get rid of it or do I upload it but also try to cut out the fallout that happened from it? Oh man, that was just insane. So, let's get into the crappy news of Fallout 76. So, Fallout 76 One Wasteland update makes it easier to explore and play with friends. Fallout 76 One Wasteland goes live on Tuesday, making Appalachia more welcoming for new players and tougher for post-apocalyptic veterans. It will be part of the Fallout 76 Update 22 because that has to have multiple updates since it was broken. With the servers going offline for maintenance starting at 7 PDT, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and 3 p.m. BST. Once the update goes live, you won't notice any big changes to your character if you're already playing. But there will be some big changes for the hostile creatures you encounter in the Wasteland. One Wasteland dramatically adjusts enemy level's stats and XP based on your own level. It will bring them up if you're way more powerful than their base level, and it will bring them down if you normally crush you into radioactive dust. Each creature will still have a minimum and maximum levels, so their challenge will still be very based on what you're fighting, and it'll drop a loop appropriate to the whatever level that you are when you are fighting them. The key bit is that it happens for each player individually, even if multiple players are encountering the same monster. That means if you have friends who have been playing Fallout 76 for years, but you're all new, you'll be able to tag along with them and contribute something to combat. On the flip side, they can help out with your newbie quests while picking up some loot that they might actually want. It will also mark the start of Season 2, bringing in the legendary perks and daily ops to keep you busy in the end game. So, yeah, this stuff, yeah, I keep trying to get into Fallout 76 even with the update, but I'm just like, there's just so much baggage with this, and all the chaos they went through last year. Like, it hasn't talked about much because there's a virus, and therefore any news that comes out is like, boop. So, yeah, it's just more like, they have to call it quits. They should just get rid of the Fallout First thing, BS, and just make it free and whatnot, and just be done with it at this point. They're trying to push this as a multiplayer game, but they're clearly pushing for an MMO game without the MMO thing. So I'm just left wondering, yeah, so yeah, Fallout 76, I don't care. I genuinely do not care. I want to be done with this thing. So, on the Sony side of the world, PS5 shipments are reportedly rushed as Sony tries to meet holiday demand. Sony seems to be pushing a rush on the first wave of PS5 shipments in order to meet demand this holiday season. As Nico Partners analyst Daniel Atman explained on Twitter, Sony is now using air freight as opposed to sea freight to ship some PS5 systems to the United States, citing Delta Air Chicago head Jerry Tai. Ahmed claims that October will see 60 flights or 60 aircraft, as the booking details are unclear, carrying PS5 games, so you know that's going to be interesting. So the information of this being from Delta means that they would not be aware or communicate Sony's plans with other airlines sea freight. It's unlikely the above covers all shipments and channels. It's also worth knowing that these flights are for the US. Air freight deliveries are considerably more costly than sea deliveries, so it's likely that Sony will only deliver a portion of the first quarter supply of PS5s through the air. It undoubtedly has shipments coming by boat as well, so an early arrival on the air deliveries will keep PS5s in stock while the seaside shipments come in. We don't know the exact figures, and this particular shipment is only relevant for the US or North America. But given the production challenges that Sony and other hardware companies have faced this year, is a reasonable estimate of the company's plan. This isn't the first time the PS5 shipment schedules have come up. Earlier this year, Bloomberg reported that Sony doubled the PS5 production to get ahead of the logistic issues caused by the coronavirus pandemic. At the time, Ahmed said himself speculated that Sony might turn the air freight to help stock early shipments sooner. Evidently, Sony decided that a well-supplied launch was worth the extra shipping charges. Yeah, but so far no details have emerged about the PS5, so yeah, I'm curious to know where they go with this, and if anything, they better bring it, especially after Microsoft pretty much kicked their ass preemptively. Let's hope there's a plan, and I hope Sony becomes more consumer-friendly, because they haven't done that in a while, so yeah, we'll see how that works out for everyone. So, once the upcoming X of Swords event, the big X-Men crossover event led by Jonathan Hickman of the Dawn of X Initiative and Tina Howard of Excalibur. It's clearly going to have some major implications for the X-Men, and it seems to be hinting towards the sunset of X, as it's been lately calling it. It's announced that New Mutants will be getting a new writer post X of Swords, so after New Mutants there will be a new writer. Vita Allen will take over as writer for Marvel's Dawn of X era titles, starting with New Mutants 14th in December, the publisher has announced. Launched by co-writers Ed Bernstein and Jonathan Hickman in 2019 following the relaunch of the X-Men line with House and Powers of X. Hickman departed after the series' first arc, with Benson remaining on as the series' sole writer. Isla will begin the run in December for a story that follows up threads from the upcoming line-wide X-Men crossover X of Swords. Artist Rodriguez, who has worked on the series since its launch, will remain on New Mutants alongside Elia. The solicitations say this. On the edge of mutant society, the younger generation of X-Men cut loose in the wild hunt, growing big and blowing things up and combining powers to see who gets crowned the King of the Mountain, reads the official story description. In the aftermath of Exosaurus, a mysterious threat has taken root on Krakoa. This ancient enemy is powerful, hungry, and all too familiar with the New Mutants, and it will take the X-Men from all generations to stop it. Jorn Magic, Dana Moonstar, Karma, Warpath, Wolfsbane, Warlock, Scout, and more of your favorite in this unpredictable series that will explore uncharted territory of the New Mutants status quo that kicked off in Jonathan Hickman's groundbreaking House of X. New Mutants will be Ayla's second ongoing X-Men title, though it actually arrives first. Starting in January, they'll also be writing the long-awaited Children of the Atom, which focuses on the newest generation of mutants of the heroes. The mutants are, as a group of characters and as a book, are the center of Ven's diagram of things I love, and I'm honored and stoked to get out to be able to follow Jonathan Hickman and Ed Bernstein on the title. She has stated in an announcement. The New Mutants, the New Mutants are perfectly situated to start digging into some kind of weird and dangerous stuff that lies just underneath the surface of the new Krakoa nation, to go poking at things that bite back, so expect them to be getting in all sorts of trouble. Ominous laugh. So, yeah, Dawn of X is doing pretty well. I'm loving every moment of it. They have an all-star team. Hickman's the leader. I hope things work out, and god damn it, I'm loving every moment of it. So, more DC Comics news. Grant Morrison and Chris Burnham returned to Batman and Detective Comics issue 1027 preview. Yeah, so as I mentioned, these are all filmed throughout the week, so this video will be merged with other stuff. But he's going to be writing, I won't talk about it in full detail, but Detective Comics will soon be introducing a brand new character with ties to Batman's teen years called Ghostmaker. Okay. But we will be getting this character, the Silver Ghost, which some people believe was a homage to the Gray Ghost from the Batman animated series. So, yeah. And the story is titled Detective Number 26, in reference to both being immediately before Batman and the crowded landscape of Gotham City's hard-boiled detectives at that time. So I'm curious to see where the Silver Ghost goes with this because he has guns, so it's gonna be insane probably. So let's move on. Ant-Man 3 reportedly adds a major Marvel villain to the MCU. Jonathan Majors looks set to play a certain character from the comics universe. And who is this character in all honesty? According to Deadline, the actor looks set to play the supervillain Kang the Conqueror. Kang is an interesting villain in Marvel War, one that could potentially open the MCU up to further time travel shenanigans, as well as providing a potential entry point for the Fantastic Four. And yeah, born Nathaniel Richards, get ready. Kang existed in the 31st century, though, and through various stories and series, travels to the present day to battle the Avengers and Fantastic Four, all in the hopes of conquering that timeline instead of his more apocalyptic barren time. Nathaniel Richards is also the name of Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards' father, who also often travels through time. Some versions of that character have become Kang, some haven't, and instead it feels almost too obvious to tease the Fantastic Four coming to the MCU, and it could give Ant-Man higher stakes as the series than it has ever has before. The sources add that this movie iteration character will likely be different in some regard, but will be one of the major villains of the franchise going forward. Peter Reed will direct the third installment, having also directed the first two. Interestingly, Reed has previously pitched a version of the Fantastic Four to Fox. I've developed it for about a year, and we went through some different permutations and some different rides. But yes, one of the big ideas was set in the 60s thing, and at the time was structurally going to be basically like the Beatles, A Hard Day's Night, where we were not going to even deal with the origin story Reed said at the time. Meanwhile, Majors has become something of a major presence in Hollywood, thanks to the starring roles in Lovecraft Country and Spike Lee's Da 5 Bloods and last year's Last Black Man in San Francisco. He will appear in Netflix's The Harder They Fall. So Kang the Conqueror, who might also be Reed Richards' dad, which means the Fantastic Four and Doom and Doctor Doom is on the horizon, hopefully. So that was the very interesting part, to hear that Kang the Conqueror. Also, I do believe one of the other talks about Ant-Man 3 was to set up the Young Avengers, since, his daughter's older now due to shenanigans and Endgame. But, hearing this, I was thinking, so is this going to be like an entry point for the Fantastic Four to show up, or like to bring them up, or like maybe he's from the future, but it's an alternate timeline about, where's the Fantastic Four, and it's going to lead to their eventual arrival onto the scene, but we'll see how that goes. I'm interested to see where this goes, but let's see how that goes. Sorry, I said goes a lot. So, there were rumors going around that Microsoft apparently was interested in buying Bungie back. However, the CEO says the rumors of Microsoft acquisitions are false. And rumors suggested that the multiple talks had fallen through. So, there were some reports first appeared in GamesBeat podcast where journalist Jeff Grubb said that he heard Microsoft had in talks with Bungie about potentially acquiring the studio, but that talks had fallen through repeatedly as the price is too high. Grubb's suggestion was later backed by Eurogamer's Tom Phillips, who said that he had independently heard these talks had taken place, driven on Bungie's side by a desire to raise new funds for the studio, its projects, and staff. However, Parsons responded to these claims, simply stating that the rumors relating to the talk and the high sale price were false. Elsewhere, Destiny 2 community manager David Drake referred to the reports as gossip. Is not completely clear, however, whether Parsons and Doug are debunking the reports in their entirety or merely suggesting that the claims are not totally accurate. While it seems likely Bungie's price tag would be pretty high, the suggestion that the studio would be actively seeking an acquisition partner didn't appear to fit with the decision to separate from former publishing partner Activision in January 2019. Microsoft, however, could have been a good fit for Bungie, as they were partnered from 2000 to 2007, a period which encompasses the development of many early Halo-era games. So, when I was hearing this, I was like, wait, is this... I don't know. Bungie did refer to Microsoft as a benevolent dictator back then. Microsoft probably has changed their ways in a little bit, especially with the new owner, with the manager of the Xbox stuff. So, yeah, but they're denying these claims. But, yeah, I am curious to know, so I want to see, I would love to see if Microsoft could give Bungie more shot in the arm for this, and after the disaster with Activision, No, never go back there. Let's never deal with that trauma again. But the idea of Microsoft being interested, it wouldn't surprise me if they were interested, but the idea that it might have tried to happen might be false. But like I said, it's going to be pretty insane. Bungie has big plans for Destiny 2 going forward, so we'll see how that goes. And no idea if a talk will happen in the future, but I wouldn't be surprised if one or the other would be interested in joining up again after their long multi-year ways away from each other, because if they did join up, I would love to see if Bungie would work on Halo again, but Marty O'Donnell's gone, so that wouldn't be the same in terms of its musical score, so might fix that first. Another report came out that Thor writer Zach Sturtz revealed news on Twitter that Thor was originally going to have a cameo from Hela. Zach said this on Twitter: "I knew almost nothing about the Thor the comic book when Ash and I got the job to write the movie. Ash was a huge expert though. I did crash course in the Lee and Kirby Simpsons and JMS runs, along with the auditioning a college course in Norse mythology while writing the script. In the first draft of the script, during Thor's coronation at one point, I had Volstone blurt out, 'What the hell?' and Hela turned around and glared at him until he said, 'Sorry,' figure of speech. Ash made me take out the joke, which is fortunate given the events of Ragnarok." And yeah, the idea that they were gonna just shove Hela in there, like it was a comedy joke, like, yeah, probably for the best. Yeah. What would have been funny? Probably, but like, man, that luckily that didn't happen because Thor Ragnarok was awesome. At least I thought it was awesome, but yeah. Yeah. But Hela was apparently at one point considered, but this was not more like a tease for a future movie Hela, more like a, oh, let's just throw a joke about hell and everything in here. I'm sure we could get Mephisto eventually. Like, why don't you just bring in Mephisto or someone that looks like him and then piss him off? That would have been fun. So, Tom King is writing Rorschach on the DC side stuff. Tom King will bring back the Watchmen characters in Rorschach. Yeah, when I heard this, I was like, wait, what? What? How does that work? Like, what timeline is this? Yeah, so Rorschach's due out on October 13th, and there's a panel that was released where it shows Ozymandias, Comedian, Night Owl, Silk Spectre, and the Dr. Manhattan, at least for a panel seen above. Could be a flashback, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the future. But yeah, I was thinking like, yeah, I get the feeling this is a past stuff going on, since they said, may have had some role in this, but considering what happened in Doomsday Clock, I don't think that's the case. Rorschach could have probably been brought back to go ahead and bring back certain characters, but yeah, apparently according to this stuff, Rorschach, who believed in the black and white interpretation of good and evil put forth by the author Ayn Rand's philosophy of objectivism. This new Rorschach will base his beliefs on the community responsible taught by the author Hannah Arendt, a contemporary of Rand who had separate and in some cases opposite beliefs. So yeah, I'm still confused. Like, so is this Rorschach, Walter Kovacs, or is this Reggie Long, or is this someone completely new and the mantle of Rorschach's become a legacy version? No idea on that, honestly. I am interested in Tom King writing Rorschach. It could be interesting and fun, but we'll probably see how that goes in the future. But yeah, and it does seem a little weird. Like the comedian's there, it has to be taking place in the past, or is this like a multiverse thing that Dr. Manhattan would discover and everything? No idea. Like this is another timeline, like the Watchmen TV show, where certain events were altered. But I don't know. We'll see how that goes when October 13th launches. So, more DC Comics 2021 spoilers. DC Toys revealed a new look for the Joker. So Bleak Cool reported that an upcoming Joker figure for 2021 may suggest where the Joker War may be going. So obviously they light up a spoiler signal. So apparently there's a report that the design of the figure scheduled for sometime in 2021 as part of the Joker War line appears to depict Joker wearing the Batman suit, but not any old suit. Instead, it's the shiny silver suit seen in Joker War, the one designed by Alfred Pennyworth for Bruce Wayne to wear for a future hopeful crime-free Gotham. And discovered by Punchline in the Batcave files, and one it seems that the Joker will be wearing at some point. Might be an attempt to sully, to taint, and to destroy the dreams of both Alfred and Bruce by putting it on dancing around with it, and probably covering gaudy symbols as well. Either that, or there's just an attempt to get the company to getting the DC lines now that DC Direct is no more and living things up a little. Maybe we'll get better glimpses of what's planned for when Batman 89 comes along. So, yeah, crazy. Yeah, I don't know if we should see Joker wearing the bat suit. It's kind of weird, but yeah, Joker wearing the bat suit we see a few issues ago, that would be pretty dark for Joker to mock Alfred, especially since Joker knows all the identities of the Bat family. Though Bruce, I think he's always known. He just doesn't want to. He just tries to forget about it or does something to make sure no one remembers it. He doesn't remember it or doesn't bring it up because it ruins the suspense, it ruins the mystery. Like the Harley Quinn show address about how Joker doesn't want anyone or himself to know who Batman is because the mystery is still engaging for him. But it's going to be very interesting where this goes. I'm hoping that they do. I'm hoping that the suit does play a role. It does so in later covers that come out for later post Joker War issues. That it seems like Batman does wear the silver outfit, but I'm not 100% certain if that gets modified or it's going to be completely Alfred's suit being worn by Batman. We did see in the George Jimenez variant issue for Batman 100 that he is wearing the suit, but it looks like to be an older Bruce Wayne than the Bruce Wayne of now. So we'll see how that works out, or if that's just supposed to be some vision of a hopeful future. So big writer changes apparently are coming for DC Comics in 2021. Bendis is leaving the Superman Action Comics thing despite statements that happened earlier in June. Grant Morrison's run might be coming to an end on Green Lantern after season 2. Scott Snyder's creator-owned American Vampire DC is currently being written, but nothing else has been announced. Tom King's Rorschach, Batman, Catwoman, and Strange Adventures series for 12 issues each, but we haven't heard any similar big deals to follow. Jeff Johns, nothing lined up for him. And these all writers who DC Comics brewed and threw money at. And Mark Waid is speculated to be taking over, but Bleak also been told that he's been offered the Green Lantern role after Grant Morrison and Liam Sharp's run, and Waid and Morrison go back to their Doom Patrol days. James Tyrion IV's run on Batman was at a lower rate than both Tom King and Scott Snyder were paid, because James Tyrion was more of a new guy in the whole thing, but he did work on Justice League, and I think they might be pushing him more since, you know, certain books he's have gotten a lot of attention and everything, but we'll see how that goes. I'm curious to know. And remember that artwork we see on DC Comics' Wonder Woman image for the certain issues that are coming out in December. So it turns out that DC will be recycling some of the Generation books and they're using Gary Frank and Brad Adams' art to be variant covers for Generations 1 through 3, it seems, and they're repurposed for them for the Death Metal one-shots. So I'm just glad they're finally repurposing it. I love Gary Frank and Brad Addison's work together, so it's nice to see these repurposed artwork being reused again for variants for the upcoming Death Metal shots, as I call them. But it's going to be interesting where that goes. I hope that I do hope to get the variants when they come out, but since they'll probably be expensive, we'll have to see where this goes from that point, from a personal standpoint. But I do intend to hopefully cover the rest of the Death Metal event, so we'll see how that goes. Last thing Jeff Johns is working on is Death Metal Secret Origin #1. So that's the only information we got regarding Jeff Johns' future with DC Comics, which ties into the gossip talk from Bleeding Cool. But I'm curious to know, want to see where this goes. So yeah, that covers the September 14th talk of the Neo Reality Collective, and I'm just looking forward for the next day's set of recordings. Let's see what news comes out, and I'll see you all after these messages.